I'm Shanmukha Priya. I would be dealing with the current affairs sessions and also some concepts as and when necessary. Okay, so the most important topic for your entire civil services exam preparation would be how to handle the current affairs part, right? Because when you take a topic or a subject in particular, we can divide it into two parts. One is the static part and the other is the dynamic part. Static is what will be taught in the classes. Yes, some faculty would deal with the dynamic part also during the static parts, but the onus is upon you to update yourselves with the dynamic parts also. You should correlate on what the static part is and how the dynamic parts are evolving. Okay, so this majorly impacts the polity, the economy syllabus, the international relations syllabus, and the essay and ethics paper, because they're all contemporary. The internal security part, the environment and ecology part, the science and technology. To be very frank, the geography and the history parts of the syllabus are relatively lesser when you take the dynamic parts, okay, because it's all static. We are reading about what has happened in the past already, and there are some dynamic issues in geography also and in history, wherever or whenever there is an archaeological update and when the timelines would alter. For example, say there have been recent findings about cave pictures, which will actually change our understanding of how the humans have evolved. Like when they have started drawing pictures on the cave walls and everything, there has been a recent excavation that happened. So it will probably change our understanding, but the major part of the syllabus is static. And the same is the case with geography, the physical features. Until and unless there is a major change in the physical features of the world or India, nothing much will change. Okay. Let's quote an example. Say some researchers have found out recently that the core of the earth has stopped rotation or is rotating in the opposite direction. So this is just a case that has been put forward by the researchers, but more research is needed, and it needs to be like analyzed from different parts of the scientific community. But that is a case that is being put forward in geography. Our understanding of the core would change, but it needs further research. But you'll need to just keep it in mind that there is some research going on about the rotation of the core. Okay, so history and geography will not have much dynamic parts in them, but polity, international relations, economy, internal security, science and technology, environment and ecology, and the ethics paper and the essay paper. There are some theories that you need to mention, or some philosophers, thinkers that you need to mention in the essay and ethics paper, which are very important in your mains. Okay, for them you need to quote the statistic part or the factual figures that are happening. So the interlinkage is very important. Okay, so I hope you are fully aware of what the syllabus is, because if you are not, you need to buckle up. This is high time that you know what the syllabus exactly is. That is when you can focus on the current affairs part of the preparation. Okay, so this is the strategy on how to read the newspapers every day. Since you are a beginner and you have ample time on your hand to appear for the examination, like to give a real attempt, okay, so please invest around 2 to 3 hours of your time on daily newspaper analysis. I can tell you any much and how much, but it is up to you to prepare a notes, to sit down, read the newspaper thoroughly and prepare a notes for your revision in future. Okay, so as a suggestion, I could tell you on how to make notes. Okay, so I would suggest putting aside a file, a folder sort of thing, and A4 papers. Okay, because if it is a book and if the topics are ever updating, you will not find space to update it in the future. Okay, so the most rational solution would be to keep a file, okay, and write down the everyday current affairs on an A4 paper, and you could attach them, divide it into topic wise, and you could update it as and when required. That would be a most rational solution, but to each his own. If you find writing in a book is more viable for you personally, then you could always put a book aside or a file. So if you practice and go into the habit of reading the newspapers, you will yourself find out what the perfect setting for you would be. Okay, but generally this is what is followed. There is no hard and fast rule that this is the only way to approach the exam, but this is one of the ways. If you find it okay, that is good. If not, please chart out your own solutions. Okay. So the first important point is syllabus copy as a ready reckoner. Ready reckoner is as and when you find a particular topic, you should be in a position to tag that topic into what part of the syllabus is it. Okay. So the syllabus is your holy book for the civil services examination journey. Topic based notes rather than article based notes. See, you will hear about many things in the newspapers. For example, Prime Minister Modi is visiting Russia. Okay, so you should not be mentioning it in the notes that on a particular day, say 9th July of 2024, PM Modi visited Russia. That is not the way to approach it. Please remember, that is not the way. The right approach should be the PM is about to visit Russia to discuss this and this issues, or the suggestions he will be putting forth, or the MOUs or the agreements or the deals that he would be signing. Okay, so it is topic based but not the event based or the article based. Okay, so the prime focus should be on what he would be doing there rather than on which date he attended a particular summit or whatever has happened. For example, say recently, if you have this habit of going through the current affairs, there has been a train accident, like what do you say, a bogie of a coal transporting train or a goods train. Goods train has collided to a passenger train from the rear end. Okay, so that is an incident that has happened. But as a civil services exam aspirant, your prime focus should be on what were the reasons behind this accident. The analysts emphasized that a safety system called Kavach was not present in the trains. So Kavach is a safety mechanism that has been installed in some of the trains in India, but not all of the trains. So as a civil services exam aspirant, you should analyze on why this happened and how it can be mitigated or blocked, so that no further accidents would happen in the future. Okay, so that is how you should approach an article, not that this train accident happened or that train accident happened or the name of the express or on which line is it or in which region is it. It is not actually important from your perspective. Okay. So the third important is focus on policies rather than politics. So if you go through the newspaper every day, you will get to hear about many statements that a particular politician is saying, or there are accusations that are being done. There is mudslinging happening every day in the newspapers. Like there are political parties, the opposition, the ruling party, everybody says that this approach is not right. Those are not important. The important aspects as a civil services aspirant is whether there are any policy decisions that are being made. Okay. Please don't delve deep into the politics part or what politician is saying what. Okay, that is not important, but just a running glance of what is happening is okay, but you need not delve deeper into who is saying what. Okay, analyze different perspectives on a particular topic. So where will you get to learn from different perspectives in a newspaper? It is the editorial page and the op-ed page, the central spread in any newspaper. Okay, those are the most important parts of a newspaper from a civil services exam aspirant's perspective. Okay, so please go through the editorials and the op-ed pages carefully. By this, what you will get to know is different perspectives. You will get to know the pros, you will get to know the cons, and the via media approach on how to balance out the pros and cons. Because the people who are mentioning their opinions on editorials and op-ed pages are people with respectable position in the society, a research person or an ex-IAS officer or a policy decision who has been a member of a think tank or a policy making body. Those are the people whose opinions are mentioned on the editorial pages. Okay. So by reading those editorials, you could form your own opinions, not to be very critical or not to be very supportive. That is what is expected of an aspirant. Okay, you should not criticize the government and you should not support blindly also. So you should also suggest solutions. Okay, that is what is expected from you throughout this journey, and also once you step into the career, the prime goal of a civil service aspirant should be the public good. okay, not to appease your political bosses or not to be beneficial for yourself or your family members. The public good is the prime motto as a civil services officer, okay. So that is how your approach should be. Please inculcate this habit throughout this journey, because if you don't inculcate this habit of thinking of the society is good, it will reflect in your ethics paper. You cannot hide your intentions for a long time. That is not humanly possible. Okay. So please inculcate this habit of developing this attitude of thinking for the higher good of the society as a whole. Okay. So you should think about the good of the majority section of the society, and please develop this attitude, because ethics paper is a very important paper in your mains exam. It is about 250 marks is what ethics paper is for. So your attitude, the way you think, would reflect definitely in the ethics paper, okay, and in your interview process also. So please inculcate this habit, okay. And focus on statistical data and facts to be quoted in mains answers. So there would be generally questions on analyze, elaborate or elucidate or suggest, okay. For example, say there are no Kavach systems that have been installed in some of the trains in India. That is why these accidents are happening. Please suggest a way forward. It will be more sophisticated, but I am giving you a simple example of how a question would be asked in the mains, okay. So you will need to quote the statistical data, like how Kavach system has helped the Indian Railways in mitigating the number of accidents, okay. So for that you will need to know on what the statistics and figures are. So there are parts in the newspaper where statistics and data points are mentioned diagrammatically in pictorial sense, okay. That you will need to remember. There is no other go but to remember, okay. So there are some factual figures like what is the GDP of India, what place is India in terms of global indices, the Human Development Index, the Poverty Index, the Hunger Index, or whatever it is, what place is India in terms of GDP and everything. So you need to remember the numbers, because they will ask you to suggest a solution to a particular problem. If you are asked a solution for a particular problem, you will need to put forward the facts and figures. So you will need to be very sure of what the factual data is, okay. And the last but not the least is revision. So for example, say you have gone through 2 weeks of newspapers analysis, okay, but you will forget, not humanly possible to remember everything and anything, okay. So revision is very important for current affairs also, because the news will keep coming in the future also, okay. For example, train accidents, the Kavach, it happened I think a month ago or a fortnight ago. There has been news in today's newspaper also about Kavach. So if you need to understand that news article today, you will need to remember what you have written 15 days or a month ago. For that, revision is very important, and I would suggest you write down the analysis every day with your own hands, in your own handwriting. That will help you inculcate the habit of writing, and writing faster and legibly, because presentation is the most important part in the mains examination. The pictures that you draw, the flow charts that you draw, and the points that you mention, like it should be like this in a pointer format. The presentation part is the most important, because the examiner should understand that you know something, you are trying to put forward a point. If it is not legible, if it is not appeasing, if it's not pleasing for the examiner, you will not get marks. You might know everything under the sun, but the way you put it is most important, right? So please focus on your handwriting and your writing speed also. Most of the candidates, where they fall behind is they are not able to complete the entire paper on time, even though they know the answers. Okay, so writing within the time frame is important, and writing legibly is equally important. Okay, for that the daily newspaper analysis will help you a lot. Okay, so practice writing at a good speed. There are measures on how to increase your words per minute also. So please focus. You have ample time on your hand. I think all of you have 2 years on hand to appear for the exam seriously, right? So I would suggest take 2 years time, but it is upon you. If you feel you are confident enough to write next year, most welcome. But I personally would not suggest. because it will need a minimum preparation time of 2 years from your point of view, from where you are standing in your career and the knowledge levels that you have. You will need at least 2 years time. Okay, so start right now. Don't focus on whether you are not doing it up to the mark or not. Starting is important. Okay, so if you start, then you will go on to the path of preparing the current affairs. But if you don't start and postpone it, you can't. So start right away. Start reading the newspapers from tomorrow, if not today.